And we're back, and it's COMP1011. It's week 8, lesson 8, part 4. And I'm mostly done on the Mac side, but I'm totally done on the Windows side. And that's why I'm coming back to you with let's get this thing going. As you notice, we didn't get a lot done. We were just trying to get this stuff installed. So I'm going to run Eclipse here. And in Eclipse Luna, let's do this together, guys. This is the piece where we configure Eclipse for those of you who haven't done it yet. So we can actually start doing some Android stuff today. Sorry, but this is the piece we have to do. You can't get by this piece unless you install Android, right? Okay, cool. So we got Eclipse running. Here's my Eclipse. And I'm still missing pieces to getting this thing going, right? Eclipse by itself can't run Android. I need Eclipse plus something called an Adt Plug-In. Right now, on the Mac, people have already done it, I'm sure. So you're going to have to bear with me. But what you need to do is you have to go here. You have to go to download, put this in your browser, download Adt Plug-In, right, for Eclipse. So here I am, Adt Plug-In. I click on this first link here. No, it'll tell you if you do. So here we are in Eclipse. And if you notice, it says on the right here, it says see also installing the Eclipse plugin right here. Let's do this together, guys, because this is a bit. There's some complexity here. So if you don't do this with me, then you're going to have trouble later on. So again, I went to from a search perspective, find how to download the Adt plugin. There's a second link down, and then from here on the right-hand side, it says installing the Eclipse plugin. If I click on this link and you go down, it shows you how to do it. It says go to help. Install new software, and then take this link right here, which is what I want you to do. Copy it, and go to Eclipse. Here's my Eclipse. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to open up the Eclipse I already had running. And go to Help, Install New Software, and populate this line up here with the link. So it's Control V. And then press Add. When I do that, I'm going to put in Adt plugin and press OK. And then it's going to say pending. And if I look at it, there's all the Android tools that I need, but I got to install all of them. I got to click this checkbox out here. When I do that, I need to print next. Hit next. Are you with me? If you don't get this, you won't get it. You won't be able to run Eclipse. You won't be able to run Android at all, right? Okay, cool. I'm at this stage here. I need to click Next again. And I need to accept. It says the Apache license and blah, blah, blah. I need to accept the licenses. And then I click Finish. When I've done that, it's going to run some stuff in the background. It says installing software has encountered a problem, an error occurred, collecting items to be installed. And this is my problem because I'm running it where? In a virtual machine. So having me running Eclipse here in the Windows side, as an example, very, very hard. If I want to make sure, I'm just going to log out of this thing for a second. I'm going to go back into Eclipse to show you this thing. I'm just going to restart Eclipse here for a second because you can't run Android without the Adt plugin. So again, I'm going to go to Help, and I'm going to go Install New Software, and then I'm going to go to Available Software Sites, and I've already got the Adt plugin here, right? So here it is. I'm going to add. Sorry, I'm going to go OK. And I cite Adt plugin. Here it is, right? And it looks like here's all my developer tools. Select all. Press Next. And it's going to. This shouldn't crap out like that for me. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that, man. Next, accept. Let me make sure I accept all these licenses and make sure they're all accepted. which I do want that, and click finish. Now it's going to crap out again on me. Because it did last time, it's probably going to crap out again, like now. And what does it say? It says an error occurred because I'm missing some package that I've installed. This is just me in my version of Eclipse that I downloaded. And I think it's because I downloaded and installed Aptana for Eclipse, and they kind of conflict. So if you have this problem, that's okay. You can download a fresh version of Eclipse for yourself. I'm not going to do that here because I don't have time. I've got mine on this side. And again, once you download and install the package, you should be done, right? Who's not done installing? If you follow the installation instructions, it should just do it for you. You didn't have an encounter like an error like me, right? If you encounter an error like me, you know what it is? You get to re-download Eclipse. Yeah, a lot of times that's the issue. Eclipse might be corrupt, right? If you encounter the same error that I just had, right?
So it's used right
No,
now?
no, no, no. Eclipse, not Android.
So
Mine's okay. I can make it run on the Mac side. Don't worry. But you should be able to download and install. So once you've got your Adt plugin installed, and now we can download and we can actually run our manager, right? There's some. If you notice, there's some links up here. One of them is the Sdk Manager. This one's the Sdk Manager here, right? Which I'm already downloading and stuff and fetching everything. Right? That's one of them up here. And the other one that I've got going on, I'm just going to make sure that's still running. It still is. The other one that I have is another button up here. If you look on the top, another button. And this, by the way, it's the same whether it's on Mac or on PC. There's another button up here that'll appear. And this is called your AVD Manager. AVD Manager. Have you got this? Stay with me, guys. Have you installed your ADT? Okay, Eclipse will take a second to reboot. It won't take long. Mine just takes a little longer because I'm running are you running remote or local? Okay. Okay. Are we good? So one thing we need to do is create a virtual machine. And that's what the AVD is. It's an Android virtual device for devices. Now there's a bunch of device definitions here, if you notice, that you can choose from. Like for example, there's Android Wear Around, Android Square, Android TV, Android Nexus 10, as an example. There's some defaults, right? Android Nexus 5. Let's do one that you guys have locally, like Android Nexus S, right? Is there something here that matches up with one of the stuff that you have? Anyone has any one of these defaults, like a 4.7-inch screen, 720 by 1280? Let's do one that you guys have. So who's got Android devices in the room? Okay, take a look at the chart up here in front of you, right? I've got device definitions here. We're going to create a device. Tell me if there's one that matches the one up here. Do you have one?
I have Nexus 5.
I have
a Nexus 5.
Nexus 5?
Yeah.
Okay, let's use that. So we're going to Nexus 5. Right? Now, there's also, if you notice on this side, we've already got a Nexus 5 definition. I'm just going to delete this one for now, right? And this one here, I'm going to delete all the other devices here. We're just going to make a new one. Okay? So I'm going to choose Nexus 5, and we're going to go create AVD. Are you with me? I'm going to wait till you guys are there with me. Nah, it's the same. It's not Eclipse. It's you don't need Eclipse here, and you're not going to create a new project. You're not doing that. On the top. Oh, you have oh. Do you install the things? Okay, so we're going to do a Nexus 5. Let's follow this around. So a Nexus 5 is the device we're going to create, right? Are you guys on the Mac side? Are you guys having the same issues? Can you see the Nexus 5? You don't see that?
Yeah, I got it. I just had to change to the Java perspective.
Okay, so you got it? Good. ADT? We did the ADT tools. You don't need to. You can stop downloading it. You don't have to stop downloading. You can keep going. Like if you're more than half, you've got it. Okay, so here I am with this new thing. I'm going to create an AVD. I'm going to click on Create AVD. And in here it says, hey, what do I want to call this thing? AVD for Nexus 5 by Google. I can call it that, right? Let's just call it Nexus 5, right? Because we don't want to call it too many complicated things. We want to be able to, you know, and we're going to go Nexus _ 5. Okay, that's important to do. The device is Nexus 5. My target, look what it says. Let's pick down, what am I running? Right, what are you guys mostly running? 5? The guy who's got a Nexus 5, Karan, what version of Android are you running? Okay, so we're going to run 5 on this one, okay? That's okay. And then from a CPU perspective, obviously it's not going to be Android TV, and it's not going to be Android Wear, right? It's going to be either the Intel Atom or the ARM. Which processor do you have for the thing? ARM, right? Okay, here's the skin that you're going to make. Keyboard, hardware keyboard present, we're going to put that in. And you can say no skin, skin with dynamic hardware controls. You can choose different kinds of skin. Let's use this first one, skin with dynamic hardware controls. Skin is the way that it would look to you, right? The AV, the virtual device. Okay, front camera. We can use my webcam 0 or emulated. I'm going to call it emulated. Same thing with my back camera. We probably won't need that. Memory options is 2048, right? That's pretty cool. It's fine, right? And internal storage is 200. Leave those as is. But here's something you need to add in here. See where it says SD card? Give it a couple hundred megs. A couple hundred in here, right? Here's another thing it says. Emulation options. Snapshots. That's how much space it's going to take. The actual, from a performance perspective, it's going to use these things. Took a look at this. Emulation options, snapshot, or use host GPU. Hey, guys, use the damn host GPU, or else it's going to be really slow. So click this option on. Right? And then press OK. Wait for it to be generated, and if there's no errors, you should get this. Do you guys all have this now? Give it a sec. Give it a sec. That is the version of OS that we're going to be using at the API level for our tools, 21. Yeah. Anything else in here? Yeah, just delete. Let's have one at a time. Okay, cool. Are we here together? Is everyone here on the same page as me? Okay, I'm going to start my AVD. That's the first thing we're going to do. Start. And if you notice, it says, here's my skin, 1080 by 1920, right? I don't want to scale display to real size. That's not what I want, okay? I could wipe user data. I'm not going to do that right here. And I'm going to press launch. Okay? Okay, here's my virtual device running. It's not quite done yet, loading. Oh, here it is, starting to load. Meanwhile, while it's doing that, this is done. I don't need to do it. I just wanted to download and install Android for you guys on that side. So I'm just going to shut down my virtual device. I'm going to suspend my virtual machine here because it's going to take too much memory. So I don't need the Windows side right now anyway. Are you guys here with me, the Mac guys? Are you launching your Android device? Then you picked the wrong one. So remember, it failed to load? Choose another one. Make another one that's lower. That's okay. Take your time. Now, do you notice how long this is taking to load?
Yeah.
And I'm using GPU acceleration. By the way, we're going to go back and modify that, that device afterwards, right? For now, leave it the way it is, right? And the reason why I wanted you to see this thing, did you get it running?
Yeah.
Good, good. Wait, just wait for it. Wait for it. Just give it a sec. Now, is it me or is it taking bloody long to load? Huh? Takes a long time. Well, in real life, you mean it takes a long time to turn on? Okay. So I'm running an i7, 16 gigs of RAM, and I've just shut down all my other virtualization devices. So I should have. Oh, here we go. I have. Well, I have power. Do you guys have power yet? All right. So there we go. Thursday, March 5th. Okay. Now what I have to do, of course, I'm going to swipe.
Is that the laptop power? 50%?
No, that's this. This is just giving you a power just to see how it looks. Remember, it's just a. I'm going to press OK. And you can see how nice and fast my display is. Because we're emulating a whole operating system, right? And now there are some really cool things you can download. If you want to, you can download a virtual appliance for Android from VMware or from VirtualBox. They have virtual appliances that you can download. They're a little better than the emulator, I'll be honest with you, right? But the great thing is here, you do have access to most tools. The functionality isn't that bad. Like for example, it says choose camera. I'm going to press OK. This is similar to what you'd see if you set up your phone for the first time. Here's my widgets, apps, and here's my browser. Let's see if I can use my browser in Android, right? Let's see how long it takes to kick off the browser. Like hold and move, right? And open it up. Just wait for it, man. Wait for it. You're too. Hey, cool. So I'm actually on the web. I've got my. All right, cool. Let me try and hit a website. HTML5 test.com. I'm going to put that in there. And let's see how long it takes for me to do that. And this is using the emulator. Wow, 457 out of 555. 555. That's pretty good. What does my web browser here locally did? I can't remember what it was. HTML5 test.com. Well, I know Chrome, but let's just see. Well, I'm actually wireless here too. It's taking its sweet time. It's taking its sweet time. So again, I'm running 457 out of 555. Hey, Karan, run that in your browser on your phone. Run in your phone. Tell me what you get.
Oh, my phone? Okay.
Yeah. Because you're running version 5, right? So run it in your phone. See what you get. All right. I got the. Hey, what happened? I can't go to HTML5 Gov. I'm going to kill my page, and I'm going to go back to it again because somehow that should definitely work. How come I'm not able to access my web here, right?
Mine's 503.
So again, it's not really reporting correctly, right? Mine's 457. You guys should see 493. What's yours? 503 for the people that are that have actual devices. So there is differences. There are differences between your actual virtual device and your real device, right? And the reason why is because The real device, testing on a real device, is always 10 times better than doing on simulator. Why? Here's one of the reasons. It's really deathly slow, right? Okay, was that your Android device?
No, mine's an iPhone.
iPhone?
I was just curious.
No, mine is actually better. Mine's an iPhone 6. Let's see what I get. I'm curious now. It made me crazy with that. Mine's 387 on my iPhone 6. Right? 387.
How much did you get, Cody? What's your score?
Mine?
307, really?
387. 387 out of 55 on my iPhone 6.
Mine was
That's so
400.
bad.
It is.
But is that Chrome or is that just a browser?
That's Chrome, man.
Oh, really? What?
Chrome.
Well, that was me using Safari.
Yeah, I'm using Chrome, and Chrome is 387. Right?
So all Chrome on
Yes, you can. But you need to know how to do that. We'll talk about that.
How much processing power can you
Okay. I'm going to, if you notice, this is locked, right? Once I've created my ADT, if I close this off, is my emulator can still run, and I recommend you leave it up in the background. Okay, guys? Don't turn this on again. That just took 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You did? Oh, man. Don't turn it off.
Good job, Robin.
No.
Robin. Okay, so that's one piece. Hold on a second here. That's still going. Let's build up a new test project, okay? So let's try this out. This is how we do it. We go to, if you've got your tools ready, I'm just going to kick off. I'm going to close down Eclipse right now, and I'm going to relaunch it, okay? So let's do that. For people who've just downloaded and installed the software, sometimes you need to relaunch. Mine finished downloading, by the way. So now on both platforms. So here's, I'm launching Eclipse for the first time again. I still got my emulator running in the background, and it's going to continue to do so and not bother anybody. Just sit there, right? Okay, cool. I'm back up, and now I'm going to go File. Are you with me? File, New, right? If you go back to Java Project, that's incorrect. You want to go to Project, right? Project. Under Android, you're going to choose Android Application Project. Follow me here, please, guys. Let's do this the first time before I kill ourselves here, and we're going to kill ourselves here to 5 o'clock. We still haven't made a project yet. Press Next. Okay, here's some things you have to know about creating an application. Okay, so if you notice here, I've got a couple options. One of them is application name. Application name. So let's name this my demo app. Okay. And when I say demo app, look what happens automatically. My project name becomes demo app, and my package name is in reverse DNS or reverse domain name order, right here. So it's com.example.demo app. Let's use, instead of com.example.demo app, let's use Georgian College as our thing. So we'll say ca.Georgian College. All right, .demo app. Okay? That'll be our identifier. Okay, cool. Here's the next one. The minimum required SDK. It's looking at 2.2, Froyo. We don't have 2.2 loaded in our system. We're going to go to 2.3 because we just asked you to download 2.3, 3.0, 4.12, 4.22, and 5, right? Okay, and then our target SDK is what we want to power things on. That means like the highest API level that the application is known to work with. What if I choose, here, let me check, let's check out 5. Is there a 5? Why not, right? There's no 5 because once I go and do 5, like again, only very few applications run on 5. Okay, compile with. Here's compile with. I can compile with API 21, which is the latest version. I recommend compiling with this one, right? And that's correct. And then it says, what's the theme, right? There's different options for the theme. You can choose a hollow light with dark action bar. You can go hollow dark, hollow light, or none. Let's just leave the default as is. Click next. Okay, here it says create custom launcher icon, right? I want to create a custom launcher icon. We create an activity. I want you to do that as well. We don't want to mark this project as a library. We don't want that to happen. And we want to put it inside of our workspace. That's correct, right? We also here, we want to click next. Okay, here's some images. These are default images. This is the Android, our Android logo, our mascot, Android mascot that comes with Android. And if you notice, our image file is launcher icon. You can choose other image files if you want to create your own custom one. You can actually choose additional padding. Right now there's 0% for trim surrounding blank space. We don't want to do that. We're going to leave everything as is, and our background color is going to be white for now.
Can you increase the padding? I want to see what happens in the preview.
Well, it's not just going to be for this, but this is for the image, right? It's going to change the way the images work. So if I go like this, then our actual thing will get smaller or bigger, right? So let's leave it at 0 for now. Clip art, I can choose different clip art if I want to. I can select my clip art, or in my text, I can choose a text icon instead of an image icon. Let's leave it at image for now. So there's 3 options: image, clip art, or text. Let's click next. Okay, here's some things we're going to start off. And when we do this, by the way, when we build Android apps, there's a couple ways we can start the app off, right? We can uncheck this if we want to not start with anything, like a blank, completely blank app. I don't recommend that. I leave it checked. It says a blank activity, an activity with a fragment, an empty activity, a full screen activity, a master detail flow activity, navigation drawer activity, or a tabbed activity. Leave it at the first one. Next. Activity name. Leave it the way it is. You could certainly change it later, but first we got to explore what exists. Okay? And click finish. Okay, when we do that, if your Android application ADT, right, has been installed properly with Eclipse, it should take you into this view with a bunch of our lovely errors that are down here that you're going to ignore right now. This is just me. These are my lovely errors. Do you guys see this? Like I see it?
Getting there. Just taking some time. There we go. Oh, look at it. It's just like Windows 1.
It's very similar. Let's make it a little bigger so it fills up my screen here. And what do I got here? I have a couple of things on the left. If you notice here, I have my main activity is my class. That's my main activity, right? In here, I can use a locale, a default locale to use if I want to do location services, if I want to simulate that. Right now I'm using my Android version when it comes to rendering layouts. That's the one you want to use, 21. This is the device that we're emulating, Nexus 1. Well, that's incorrect. We want to look at Nexus 5, right? So we want to change this to Nexus 5. Let's give it a sec to do that. Here's my Nexus 5, right? And if you notice, I can choose different kinds of layouts, right? Depending on how I want to go. Do you guys see the same layout on the side?
How do you, oh, so you're saying it can flip sideways also?
Yes.
So, but if these two are checked, like these two?
Don't worry about this. This one, if the one you want to do is see this one right here?
Yeah.
You can switch to landscape. Right now it's in portrait mode. And there's also UI mode, normal, car dock, desk dock, television, appliance. There's also night mode or daytime. You can check all these modes to test them to see what they would look like. Again, it's just an emulator. So there's some good things and bad things about it. Okay, so this is our activity XML. This is what our activity looks like. The XML, this XML document is actually an XML version of what you see on the graphical layout. So there's two layout tabs in the bottom here, graphical layout and XML layout. They're both pointing to the same thing. And if you notice, there's a text view that's inside this markup right here. Here's our XML. And inside this text view, we have a few properties. A layout width, right, where it says wrap content. A layout height, which is wrap content. And a layout string, which is, there's an actual string that we're using for hello world. Right, we'll talk about this in a second. Okay? And on the graphical layout, it looks the same. Here's our hello world, right? On the right, I'm not sure if you see this on the right-hand side here, or on the left, there is something called an outline. Do you guys see the outline on the right-hand side? Yep. The outline actually shows you your layout. So look what we have here. We have a relative layout. That's the highest level. And inside that, we have a text view. And the text view has a string. So here's our text view that says hello world, right? Do you see that? Okay, if I want to add another option, like for example a button. Here's a button. Let's add a button to our layout. So I'm going to drag and drop the button onto the layout like this. Now notice what it does. It tries to use smart guides here to position the button relative to the other this is the other thing here, the other control, right? So I can pull this down, and what it does is it tries to put constraints in place right away, automatically when you put your button down. Take a look. Here's my button 1, and here's my relative layout. That's how they're viewed in order, right? My relative layout, my text view, which is up here, in layering, and then under that, my button 1. If you notice, I've got a bit of a warning here, right, for button 1. My warning says, consider adding Android layout align start is equal to ID/text view 1 to better support right to left layouts. We're going to figure that out later on. If I click onto it, if I go here, if I go look at this warning, and I go into where it says, if I click onto it, as an example, I can't press OK. But if I go here on the right-hand side, you notice that this is my ID. My ID for the button is ID button 1. That's the actual ID for my button. It's called button 1. The name of the button when I want to reference the button. Here's my style for the button, Android button. I can also choose other kinds of buttons, right? I'm not going to change that for now. And if I want to change my name from button, right? Take a look at hello world. Hello world says @string hello, right? Well, if I click on these little ellipses from my hello world right here on the right, it brings me this these different strings. Like for example, I have my app name. There's an actual string variable that we can use, and we use string variables to hold everything that we see on the layout. We don't just type in the name of the control like we do in rapid application development, right? Here we have to create a string variable, a container to hold the name. Yes, like this. So I go new string, right? So I'm going to go change this variable to, as an example would be click me. So I'm going to go click me, that's my variable name, and click new string. And then again, I can see what the string would be called, right? Here's my different things that already exist. Like for example, my string would be click me, and my R string would be click _ me. It's okay, don't worry about it. And then when I do that, once I've got my new string, I press OK. Now if you notice on the left hand side, there's different options for configurations. We're going to leave those the way they are. Press OK. When we do that, I have a click me string that I've just created. I have my app name string. I have my action string. Right? I have my hello world string, and I have my click me string, and press OK. Once I do that now, I can assign my text attribute for my button. Here's my button. I can assign this to a string if I want, right? So here's my text button, my text. If I click on this little thing here, I can assign it to a string, which is click me, and press OK. And now my button says click me. See? And so does hello world, which is not what I wanted. Because my hello world shouldn't be click me. My button 1 should be click me. My hello world should be hello world, right? So I should be able to choose which one I want, and it should be hello world. There we go. Here's another thing. If you look at the attributes, so this attribute inspector on the right-hand side here, I have this other task list here. I could get rid of it, right? And I recommend you do so we can see the attribute inspector a lot more clearly. So here's my attribute inspector. I'm kind of creating my properties a little better. All I need to see is the outline. Here's my outline, and here's my properties, right? If I click on an option, I get context-sensitive properties on the right-hand side here, right? So here's my hello world, right? Here's my hint. If I want to do a code hint, like when the text is empty, right, and so on. There's nothing that's empty right now. I can also choose the text size and the text color, right? So for example, right now, I could choose a color if I want to by clicking this, right? And if you notice, these are different styles, right, that I can define. Here's dimensions, a drawable. We don't want to use a drawable right now. A layout, a menu, a string, a style, right? We're going to leave this the way it is for now. Same thing with if I go text size. If I click text size, as an example, you can choose one that's already been defined for you, right? Like a large or a headline material like this, and press OK, which is 24 points, right? Let's check out other ones, 22 points, medium, 18 points. Let's do 18 points, press OK. Now it's a little bit bigger. And if you notice, I can also change the size of my container to make it bigger. It's not going to change anything though, because my layout is the way it is. Okay, cool. Let's run this thing. First of all, let's save everything. So I'm going to go save all, right? If I look at my main activity, I've got some errors that I'm running, right? Cannot resolve R. You know, this problem you're going to get for a lot of times with when it comes to if you ran the project incorrectly the first time. Do you get this error here in your main activity.java? Huh? In main activity.java, where it says if you hover over the error, it says R cannot be resolved to a variable. That's a common error that we get if we haven't installed the package correctly. Now, you may not have that if you're on the Windows side. Do you guys have it on the Windows side? That's a good thing, because that means that you're good to go. Sometimes it helps when we clean the project. So if we go project, right? If I go clean, sometimes I said, it says clean all projects and press OK. Sometimes it takes away the errors, like this, right? Now, if you notice, it still shows I cannot resolve my issue. If I go project, build project, right? Right? So it says build automatically. But if I try and build manually, by running it, if I run my project, now here's the challenge. If I run my project now, it says the selection cannot be launched and there's no recent launches. Why? Because I've got to define how I run. So I'm going to run as, I can choose my run configuration. And if I go Android application, right, that's what I want to run, right? Or I can't run a unit test. And if you notice, it's giving me a bit of errors, right? I have to double click on this because I don't have a configuration for my Android application. Okay, here's my target, right? I got to look at my AVD name, right? I got to see if there's an AVD name. I don't have a target. If I don't have an AVD, right? Here's my AVD right here, right? I already started it, right? But somehow it doesn't find it in here. That's a problem. Or otherwise it won't run on my AVD. I can always prompt to pick a device. or launch all compatible devices. And right now, I can say launch on all compatible devices. I already have a device ready, so let's use that one, launch on all compatible devices, and press apply and run. Now it says launching new configuration has encountered a problem, an internal error has occurred, and of course it says path for the project must have only one segment, blah, blah, blah. And this is what I'm saying. Sometimes you get these errors, right, with your project, and it has nothing to do with you guys. Here's my demo app. I'm also getting an error up here, right? App compatibility version 7, right? Let's go to preferences and go to Java, right? And if you notice, sometimes the challenge with Java, and this is where you might say it's easier for you to do things, because right now my compiler is set to 1.8, right? And a lot of times the compiler won't work with anything more than 1.7 or 1.6. So let's try 1.7 for me. So bear with me while I do that. Press OK. And I'm going to relaunch Eclipse. This is still going. And again, I want you to see these problems because these are the same kind of problems you can have. The good thing is you don't have to download and install your Android SDK anymore. It's done, right? So we don't have to do that piece. That piece is the longest piece. If I have to download and install Eclipse again, it's okay, right? Because that doesn't take as long. This piece takes the longest. And if you notice, my demo app has this big issue, right? It gives me this big sign. I have these errors. And if I was to double click on these errors to fix them, sometimes it says import R Android as a fix, right? If I do that, it's not going to help me because there is no R Android. R is part of the solution. And this is why I'm having a problem. So sometimes I have to do this. I have to basically close off the project. I can delete the project again. Yeah. Fatal error occurred. Who cares? Let's save all. I'll save all. I'll close these things off.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
Since we're kind of talking about Android stuff, are we going to have to code, like, this may sound really stupid, but are we going to, like, code in the actual, like, touching of the screen and stuff like that? Or is that...
No.
No?
No, that's not necessary, but we do have to code other functionality, like a button press. We have to code that. It won't understand that. We have to
stuff like we would do in form application anyways.
Correct, but it's slightly different than what we saw. So I'm going to just quit Eclipse here. And again, just for my purposes, I'm going to close off my my emulator for now, just to make sure that that's not causing the issue. And I'm going to rerun. I'm going to rerun my my Eclipse here. And sometimes I have to switch my workspaces. That's another thing I have to do because my workspace is looking at Java, and I may need to create a new one, which is totally okay, right? Like for example, right now it's looking at Documents workspace. I can browse, and just to make it easy so it doesn't fool around with anything else, I can create a new workspace. I'm going to call this Android. Right, and press Create. Sometimes that helps because it's cleaner. Right, and press Open. And then use this workspace next time as default. Press OK. And what this is going to do is going to create a clean workspace for me because sometimes my workspace can corrupt my install. Right? So if you didn't get that issue, I did. I'm just going to quickly do what we just did already. And if you notice, look, it says here, sending tracking request failed. Well, that's okay because I don't have a DDMS, a device manager present right now, a device present. Okay, cool. I'm going to go and configure Eclipse again, just one more time. So I'm going to go into Android, and I'm going to go into, when I launch my Eclipse, and here's my run debug. Yeah, let me take a look at my run configuration for a second, please. Run configurations. Here's my Android, and if you notice, didn't save anything because I don't have. I'm using a different workspace. So here's my Android, and it says launch default activity. That's good. My target, I don't have an ADT. This is bad, man. Right? that the fact that I can't see an ADT here, right? I should see a manager that's compatible. So see where it says Nexus 5? I can also create another ADT, or an AVD, I mean. I'm going to call this, you know, older phone, old. My device is going to be an old phone, so it's going to be, instead of a 4.7, I'm going to make a 4-inch device. So a 480 by 800 device, right, with running Android 2.3.3, right, just to see if that's the issue, and running an ARM processor.
I don't think it was running ARM.
It was. I'm not going to put a skin on. I'm going to leave the skin as default. I'm not going to choose a skin, or I'll say no skin. I'm not going to put a camera or RAM, anything more than this. I'm going to set up, let's say, at least 100 of these. And I'm going to include a snapshot for emulation, but not use my host GPU. And press OK. Okay, so I've got this old Android phone, this 2.3.3 running API level 10. Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to refresh this. And let's see if it actually picks this up as one of my targets. And you see how it doesn't? That's bad. Because if I can't see my target in here, do you guys see your target in here with run configuration? You don't see it either, right? And I'm going to say launch all compatible devices, right? And this is active devices and AVDs, or always prompt to pick a device. Let's use that. Because I don't know what my device is. I obviously can't see it in here for some reason. And let's press run. It says launch configurations encountered a problem. I don't have anything because I don't have any kind of code. I'm going to go File, New, Android Application Project. And in here, I'm going to do a, I'm not going to target SDK 4. I want to target a lower SDK, 2.3.3, just for kicks. I'm going to compile with 21, hollow light bar, and Froyo is cool. Let's leave it as 2.3.3. My application name is I'll call it a demo again, my demo app. And I'll leave my com.example.demo as is, and press next. I'm going to just run a quick example here. So I'm going to leave all this as defaults and press finish. And hopefully this won't be the death of me today. Yeah. And this is automatically, I can tell you it's automatically, I'm better. I'm better. Okay, now let's try and run this thing. So I'll go run, right, Android application, and let's see if it runs with my demo. And I'm going to give it a second because it's going to launch ID, which is right here, and this is my old phone, and then it'll run my demo. So I'm just running it on the old phone because sometimes what I need to do is run it on an older phone, test it like that first, and then hopefully it'll run. Do you guys get this? Again, I'm running it on an older phone, an Android 2.3.3 phone, just for kicks. Again, today's lesson is all around, hey, let's set up our environment. Let us not just set up our environment, but test out how to work with Eclipse and go through some of the challenge that we have, because some of the challenge that we have working with Eclipse is, you know, putting together Android projects. But it looks like me switching workspaces helped, which I recommend you try and do.
Is there a way to actually set this up so it would run right on an actual Android device?
Yeah, plug it in.
I don't have a cord here.
That's the way you do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you plug in your device, you can actually target your device.
Oh, so if you plug in the device, I can directly code onto my device?
Yeah. Oh, here, look, I'm already running. So see all your apps and icons. This is the old version of Android I've got going on, right? But this is the old version of Android, right? And here's my Google. If I go to my web app, and if I go, let's type in, you know, HTML5 test.com to run my emulator and see how that works. And see what version of Google Chrome I've got downloaded here, right? Remember, it was like 477 or something like that. Look what I'm getting now. Oh yeah, man. This is the old version, right? So I'm getting a lower browser that I've got going on here. Yeah, of course. Well, no, so it's the Android browser.
Yeah, it's not Chrome. That's why.
Right. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can
So
you, like right now on this program, can you go on to a different website and say download and install Chrome?
no, it doesn't work like that for us.
Emulate.
That's not how it works. You can certainly do different things, but not that. Unless if you have a Google Play account, you can, right? But I don't use it. So again, if I press escape, it takes me back here, and if I press escape again, it'll take me to the home screen, right? Again, what I want to see is if I kind of swipe, if I do swiping gestures and all the same kind of gestures that you would do, right? Then I get a chance to swipe left and right. Right? Now it didn't run my app because I just launched Android. And the great thing is if I click this run again, right? It says it's run a problem, right? And that's why it didn't run my app. Now let me try and run this again. And I'll run this demo thing again. Let's see if it runs. And if you notice the bottom here, it says an SD card image already in use. La la la. The KO snapshot storage already in use because it's trying to run another image for myself, right? If I target my device, because I'm already running my device, right? I'm going to run as Android application. It's going to try device alongside this one. And that's not cool. I don't want that to happen, right? Because if I try and run two Android simulators, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to go crazy, right? So I can change my run configuration. This is where I kind of launched it the first time. So I'm going to go to run configurations. And under here, my target, hey, look what I have here. I got old and Nexus 5. I'm going to click launch all compatible active AVDs. Active devices, this is where if you were plug in your machine. Active devices and AVDs. I'm going to press apply and run. Now it says no compatible AVDs or devices found. Relaunch this configuration after I do it. Right? Okay, let's try this again. I can also target, right? Here's my run configurations. I want to show you this thing. I can target old, apply, and run. Right? And if I go back to here, if it's running properly, oh no, here's the other thing I'm running here. I'm running a Nexus 1 device, right? It says Nexus 5. That's not the device I want. My AVD should be running old, is what I created, right? I can also run a generic device, and here it is. I've got a generic device running 3.7 at 480 by 800. So this is what the view is that I'm getting here. I would probably kill my task list. I don't believe in using a task list like that, and kind of pull up my properties so I can see my hello world, right? And again, we're going to fix these problems, but I wanted to introduce them to you because you're going to see them a lot. And we're going to figure out what the problem is, why it's giving us these errors,
So,
right?
Yeah, when we right now it's on mouse click, right? The side scrolling.
What was that?
The side scrolling that you do between screens, it's on mouse click.
Yeah.
You have to click the mouse. It's not just scrolling over.
No, I'm clicking the mouse and dragging.
Okay, so will that adapt to a touch screen, or is there like a conversion code that you need to write for it?
No, that's it. There's nothing for us to do. It's part of it. It's
So when you touch the screen, it works like a click.
yeah. So here's if I want to. No, I can't see the bottom of my screen because my bottom of my screen is down in here, right?
Can you hide that?
Well, the one thing I could do, that's my notification bar, right?
And you can't close it now because.
Well, there's some shortcuts I can use. I can also go from a view perspective. Sometimes you can change the size of your window. I can change it so I can reduce the size. And I can launch that next time. When I launch this AVD again, I can choose to do that. So in a nutshell, the things we talked about today is let's set up your Eclipse environment, right? How do I launch my app on my AVD? And again, we're having trouble today, but next week when we get together, we'll do our first app. We'll talk about how to set together a welcome app, a real app, and we'll talk a few more things. So be ready for doing everything next week. Please start your array project, all right, which is due in a couple weeks, and then next week I'll try and give you your first assignment for Android, okay? And that's it for me.